Hello people, welcome back to my channel. So hope you are enjoying the Python skill series so far. Today we'll be discussing one of the important concepts, especially it is used in object-oriented programming, that is multiple inheritance, as you can see from the screen. Now just a quick note before we start. If you have any previous programming knowledge, that is in C++ or Java especially, you know in C++ this concept of multiple inheritance is present, means you can use this concept in C++, but in Java you don't get to use this multiple inheritance because Java does not supports multiple inheritance. But Python fortunately has come up with the extension or the ability to support multiple inheritance. That is very useful whenever we do uh, object oriented programming like in polymorphism or inheritance. So we'll basically understand the concept of multiple inheritance, MI, in Python with the help of an example. So basically what is there is I have a class that is person. So that is the normal class that we already know, and inside this class I have the uh, init method which will initialize all the variables. So the syntax, that is the self, so that is by default, so it will take one compulsory argument self, and it can take any number which is more than self. So self is always compulsory. Without self you can't create the init method, it will throw some error. And then you have three more variables that I'm passing. So the first variable is name. So basic details of a person is like we get the name, we get the age, and we get the gender. So that I'm basically storing in three variables, n, a, and g. Next what I have is I have a subclass which is a student, now which has reference to the superclass. So superclass is person and base class is student. So student class inherits or extends the parent class, that is person, and it also has the init function for initializing the variables. So let it be any function, or let it be any class, superclass or subclass, you need to have the init function by default inside that. And then you have the self, that is a default parameter. Then the three variables that is inherited from the parent class, n, a, g, those three things are present, and R and D. So R stands for roll number, and defaulter, so whether that student is defaulter or not. And then whenever you are inheriting any parent class, basically what you have to do is you have to call this particular syntax, that is person dot, and you have to take these variables as the argument of init function. So that is the basic syntax whenever you inherit any uh, superclass into a base class or subclass. Then what you have is you have another subclass, that is teacher, which is also a person class, and inside this you have these three variables, and you have one more variable, that is course, which is represented by variable c. And then you again call this because you want to access these three variables from the person class. And then you have one more class, that is bright student. So bright student will inherit two classes. So whenever any one class, when it inherits two or more classes, there it becomes multiple inheritance. So bright student will inherit the student class, that is this one, and the teacher class, which is this one. So it also has the init method for initializing the variables. It takes the self nag from the person class, then rdc, that is this r, d, and c, and one variable of its own, that is self dot points. And then if you inherit this class, that is student, you have to write this construct, and teacher you have to write this construct. That is the basic definition of the coding. So what coding we have done, that is the basic thing what you currently see on the screen. So I have something like this. So this is the basic setup what we currently saw. So person is the superclass, and student or teacher are both subclasses of this person, and then bride student is inheriting these two. So let me just annotate a bit. So what I have is person has the name, then age and gender. So these three things goes to the base class because it inherits. So you have N, A and G. Similarly you have N, A and G. And teacher has course, so that is one instance variable which belongs to that particular class. And for student it has roll number and defaulter D. So bride student will have all the things. So NAG is common between these two, that is this one and this one, and it will also inherit R and D, that is from student. This goes to this, and also this C goes to this, and it itself has a point, that is another variable, that is this one, that is self dot points. That is as simple as that. So it will basically have self by default and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 parameters, totally 8 parameters, but we don't count self. That's why it's in different font. We know what is the basic importance of writing self, we have covered in the previous video. So self is by default, you have to write self, and along with that all the other 7 parameters which it takes. Now this setup what you currently see is called as the multiple inheritance, whereas only these two, that is student inherits person and teacher inherits person, these are called as hierarchical inheritance. So that's what I written here, that is HI and HI. This is multiple inheritance. So that is the basic code. Now how will I run this? So I'll basically create the object of the bride student class, and inside this for a name I'll pass a name Rajiv. For the age, that is of Rajiv, that is 26. His gender, that is male. So that is the basic details of a person. These three things cover the basic details of the person. Then his roll number, then whether he is a defaulter or not. Means defaulter is basically if his attendance is low than a particular threshold, he becomes a defaulter. If it's not, he's not a defaulter. So that is a string variable. And then the course which he took, that is Tableau Essentials. And then finally his points are basically the grade, so that is represented as 1.3, and I'm just printing into a dictionary. So this also we have seen in the past video. So it will basically display a dictionary containing all the key value pairs for all these. So these things which you currently see, these are the values, and whatever you have put here, that is the name, age, gender, this will comprise of the keys. So we'll just run this. Just connecting to console, as you can see below this portion. Okay, we have got the output. So just don't look at this, that is basically the virtual environment and the working directory it is basically showing, and this is the output that we want to see. So it basically inherited points. So As you know, since dictionary don't have any concept of indexing, so it will put the elements in a random way. So it's not the way like how you pass the variables inside this. So first we put Rajiv, so that was the name. So name comes somewhere here, and then 26. 26 is after that. Gender comes after that. Course is after that. Tableau essentials, and then you have the grade, and then roll number. So this is the basic idea of multiple inheritance. It is most widely used in object-oriented programming. Because since Java does not supports multiple inheritance, you can go with Python and do this kind of activity. So well, that was all regarding the multiple inheritance in Python. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found you got educated about this video, please do like, share, comment, and if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching this video.